Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about how AI is actually revolutionizing how amateur teams can capture, stream, and of course, learn in all kinds of sports like volleyball, soccer, rugby,
Lacrosse.
what else? Lacrosse.
You
All of
name
the
it,
good sports.
they got it.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about Veo. So Veo is actually a Danish company which raised over 116 million. It's insane. But I want to talk about the product, and then we're going to go through all these use cases, what actually AI enables. Mike, do you want to maybe lay the basis on what is the current status? What is the current status if you watch an amateur game, or if you can even stream it or watch it?
Well, the status before Veo, basically, you went to the game, you watched the game, and then the coach told you, yo, bro, you kind of sucked. You got to remember that one play after the halftime, you were supposed to go to the right and you went to the left. And like, I don't fucking know what you're talking about, bro. There's fucking so many plays. I don't even know. So this is all time gone, bro. This is the past. Welcome to the future, old man. Everything is digital now. We have AI to analyze all the fucking games, everything. You can watch it, live stream, you name it, they can do it.
So I mean, this is one advantage just to get better, but it's also think about your niece living in a different country or you're living in a different city and you want to watch these games. Not only, I mean, and you don't have the power or you don't want to travel so much to watch the game actually, you can just watch it from home now, right? Which is really, really cool. So basically all the people or your friends, family across the world can just watch your game if they want to. Or, of course, just watch a highlight, which is also really cool.
But and they can also comment on it, right? Like the live streaming, they have like comments, etc. So you can broadcast, I think, on Twitch, whatever you want, on any kind of platform, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot. Also, think about it, maybe not for this generation, for the grandparents, but upcoming grandparents, they're more technology affinite, I think, so they know more about this stuff. So they actually use their phone to live stream this stuff, right? Because I think like older people nowadays, like 80-year-olds, 70-something-year-olds, they don't necessarily know how to use this stuff, even if you send them the link.
Exactly, for sure. I mean, all right. So, Mark, let's open just here the website quickly and talk about it. So that people can imagine. So basically, how it works: you set up this camera in like a 5 and 7 meter height, and then it just automatically tracks where the camera is, where the ball is, and then just switches. For example, if you watch this clip, so it always just, I mean,
nice.
I mean, just people playing soccer, and it always tracks the soccer, right? So it always tracks the soccer, so you always know where the ball is, as well as it tracks. So it captures everything, and now the good part is later on with AI, it can say, okay, how many people had position of had the ball for how long? Did your team have how much possession did it have of the ball? From where were the shots on the goal? How many goals were done?
Heat maps, you name it. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you played League of Legends or something like that. That actually exists in video games, this kind of stuff, but it's super cool to see. At the end of the day, you get a match summary, and you can see what happened, what did I do at what time, heat maps, for example, where did I die, where did the enemies die, all that kind of stuff. So giving this technology and analysis, this capability, amateurs find fascinating. Oh, let's see the video.
So as you can see here, you can just edit it. Well, technically it gives you all the highlights, right? You can see, watch it, click through it, then edit it. You can directly tag your players in it if you're a coach. And wow, that was pretty sick. And then you can just like literally just tag it, for example, at minute 20, that was good defense, bad defense, tag your players, and then just analyze it, which is really, really cool. Normally that was only for like professionals teams, but now you can do it in amateur, which is really, really cool.
Lucas, let's play it a little bit further ahead. So what do you think this will impact on, let's start the sport. Let's start up, how will this impact the sport? How is it impacting the sport? And then we can go on more into business analysis and etc.
Of course. So first of all, why is this relevant? So, and why now? So first of all, why is it relevant? We already mentioned it. First of all, before it was not possible to actually watch those games. You always were relying on somebody just like capturing the game and then you're hoping to watch it. So that was horrible. Then always the camera was like pretty shit because you had to like go left and right. You didn't. So that's one thing. The second one, why is also like why is this relevant, is because there's a need for people, or like especially if you play hobbies or in high schools in the US or college football or soccer, you always want to get better, and then you could potentially scholarships, etc. So there's a big need for that. And yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think in general, like any kind of hobby, people like to take seriously. Some people obviously not, they just do it for fun, but other ones are very, very competitive. And as we can see nowadays, I mean, their athletes make a lot of money. So it's a very, very lucrative sport if you're one of the best. And now with this kind of tools, it enables anyone to improve much better because you have the ability to analyze games much, much better. So that means you doesn't, for example, in the US, okay, it's different in Europe and in the US. In the US, you usually have to pay for, like, I think they're called traveling teams, etc., or off-season teams. So if you're, for example, just your high school just plays from January, I think it's in the spring, just play soccer, and in the fall it's a different sport. So for this kind of people, then in the fall they usually go to traveling teams and have to pay a lot of money for this kind of stuff. And then obviously that means some people can't afford this. So now with the analyzing thing, it's much, much nicer so that they can even get access to this kind of stuff during the high school year, right? Because the traveling teams usually have more money, etc., and can do this.
Also, Mark, you know what it reminds me of? Just video games, right? Our company, or what we used to.
Yeah, that's what I said before.
Basically, get gaming highlights. You can capture that, share it with your friends. It's super, super cool. But also, what I just realized, this is very similar to. So, if you're a runner, you have like these running apps, right? Or you have like, I think it's Strava for biking or something like this. So each of them have apps where they can compete with friends, etc. But the thing is, like, if you are in soccer or any field sports or team sports, it's like very hard to track it. And well, technically you're playing in your team, and then you see how many goals they have, but you don't see highlights, right? And that way you can literally just with the players, man, did you see that? That's so cool.
It's also one thing that I just remembered because we went to high school in the US for a year, and I remember there's people, like kids, that were actually counting how many shots each player made, how much they made, etc. Now you can automate all that stuff, so the stats are accurate as well as easy to do. You don't have to take this manually anymore, which is fucking super cool. Also, I didn't finish before. Europe is different in that sense that you have these smaller leagues. They're all usually, we have a lot of volunteers, and then you have sponsors that sponsor the team, but usually everyone can join them, or I think you have a yearly fee maybe of $50 to join a club, which is super, super cool, and enables them, these kind of teams, also to analyze. And then you can create your portfolio for those athletes. Hey, this is my highlight reel, or this is my possession use stats, and then send it to scouts, right? Because scouts, that is real job, right? They scout players, and then they get awarded. It's like an agent, and it's super, super cool. So I think this is a fascinating in that regard, in terms of how it enables and how the sport will become more and more competitive, as it already is, because it now, even the people who don't have economical power or whatever have access to these kind of tools. Is fucking awesome.
Cool. I mean, it just reminded me of when we were kids and just like playing volleyball, and the coach said, "Yeah, remember this? You did that wrong. You should jump more then," or something. You're like, did I? And then you have to trying to think about what you did wrong and then trying to correct it the next time. Well, now you can just watch it and just replay it. Same with like strategy, like, okay, there was a hole in your defense, etc. You can directly analyze it, which just makes it super, super cool. I really, really like it for that reason, for sure. And now, Mark, I want to switch now to let attention on, is it a good business? Okay. So we talked about why we believe it's very cool and what advantage it gives to all the users. But now let's talk about economics, right? So first of all, how much did they raise? How much revenue did they make? And of course, like, how did they make money?
Let's start with the business model, okay? Let's start with the business model. Okay, so the business model is the following. You pay for the camera, one-time fee, and then you have your monthly subscription. So you can buy this, obviously, monthly terms. I think in 6 months, yearly, and 2-year plan. The longer the commitment, the bigger the discount.
So basically, actually, it's first of all, you need to buy the camera for like 1,200 euros. And then you have different plans. So, for example, the cheapest plan is like 30 something, I think 37. and they're 39 euros with 15 users, only 6 months, and you don't have analytics, right? So basically, it's a bare minimum. I think it's just
but
there.
this is only for yearly, Lucas. This is, like I said, it really depends on if you pay monthly or not. So the starter is 39 euros if you have a yearly subscription. Anyways, the details don't matter that much. The camera is always the same.
But it's interesting to see, right? Because like you see that nobody would buy the first one, because it's like if you don't have analytics, the entire thing is just not as relevant. Whereas the other ones, which are higher ones, it makes it more sense. First of all, it's all year round. The second one is you have analytics and also access to more users. Because if you have, like, for example, a high school or university with multiple teams, you cannot share it with more players. So it makes them more relevant to upgrade to the other ones. So that's very, very smart. And so, for example, this company raised over, I think, 113 million, which is insane. And Mark, guess how much money they make last year?
How long have they been around?
That's a good question. A few years. I'm not 100% sure. Probably like 5-6 years.
100 million.
Actually, 7 years around already. No, they're making 63 million euros per year.
Euros. Okay.
That's estimated revenue per employee is 200,000. That's not bad.
That's really good. That's crazy. They must have a shit ton of fucking people paying for this stuff.
Just think about it. Just subscription. I mean, the camera's one thing. I mean, but
probably still at a loss or a break even.
Yeah,
makes sense. Like GameCubes or whatever, all consoles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
for those people,
cool.
Just for those people who don't know, console developers normally sell the console for the first few years at a loss because the hardware is more expensive, but they're making money with the games. Meaning, because if you're a developer on a console or whatever, you have to pay a certain cut, give it always to Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. And then later, of course, over the years, because like a cycle of a console is like 4 or 5 years, they make money on the console as well because the chips get cheaper to produce. And yeah, that's very, very smart.
So coming back to this then, so I'm guessing there's different the teams or the plans to have like starter. What I find super interesting is the enterprise one, because for me, I don't understand 20 teams per camera. So this must be like massive. There must be big universities, right?
Well, it technically doesn't have to be in universities, right? You can also have, if you have a private tennis club or and like a.
But it doesn't have it doesn't have tennis. The sport.
Yeah, but like say a soccer like a soccer field where people can rent it out, right? Stuff like this where you can rent stuff out and then you can just like hire it and you can just like, all right, we capture this and then you pay for this.
Yeah, but so I don't do that. That's the question.
I mean, why?
For me, right? This is like
also, Mike, but also you have to consider. Think about if you are in a league, and then the entire league has 20 teams, something like this, and every time somebody comes to play at your home place, it also counts as a different team because you want to maybe give it to them as well, the streaming or etc. I mean, 600 users is not a lot if you think about it. If you think about 600 users for streaming, well, it's 30 per team. Actually, it's not bad. It's actually quite good.
No, but it's super cool. I like also 600 users, that, like you said. Not bad. I think this is super, super interesting. Do you know what I was wondering is, because I saw a YouTube video about this, and they have different competitors as well. One of them is Pixelot.
What do they do, Mark?
So basically, they're the same as the company we just introduced. They seem also to do the same for professional teams. For example, one of the partners is Real Madrid. But they also have obviously a small market. So, but they seem to be the biggest one in the market right now. Even though based on the website, I think Vio looks much better. And
also the difference, like pricing. Well, contact us. If somebody says contact us on your website, you already know they are pricey. Also, the teams that they have, most of them are professional, so it's not like focused on amateur.
So they have different they have also, like, for example, volleyball and stuff. So they're not niching down on soccer, basketball, and lacrosse is the other one right now. They have everything, right? They've been also around for 11 years. So they've been doing this for quite some time. And so it's cool to see that there's other competition going on. They're still raising so much money, and also, man, it's just crazy.
I mean, it's a lock-in effect, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, once you have like a fixed cost and then you have a subscription, and you're like, all right, it's already set up. Why would I need to do that? So of course,
honestly, I think it's the analytics, bro, that gets you.
Exactly.
All
like you have it all, then probably like combine it with the cloud, and then you're like, why would I switch? It's like once you go for Dropbox or all of these stuffs, you're like, I'm not switching anymore. I have everything on the cloud. Why would I? Same with Apple, with iPhone versus Android. People tend not to switch. So yeah.
Well, think about it this way, until one of those guys makes it super easy to switch. For example, Android did this Android, for example, with the Pixel, when they introduced it, they made it super easy to switch from iPhone to Android. Literally just had to plug in the cable and it did it automatically, copied everything over.
Yes, but at the same time, if you think about with leaks, as soon as multiple people have it in the leaks, they all would like to have the same system. So I think that's also where lock-in effect works super nicely.
Great network effects, it's true.
Yeah, and then the same was like with the reel you showed me the other day, when basically like it's in any market, 3 or 4 players have 80% of the market share, right? Or 60? What was 60 or 80 of the market share?
80.
And then 80% of the market share. So if 3 or 4 players or 5 players have 80% of the market share, you want to rush as soon as possible to get like to be one of the biggest ones, because the other ones, they get just like nothing, right? And it's not worth it then. So that's why everybody's rushing there.
You know what I was also thinking about? Think about the future. So what about, they have right now all this information of all the stats and data. So what can you build after this, right? So right now they're building only the analytics tool, etc. But I think that would be super sick if they have something like, remember Plays.tv, I think it was called? The
it was for games though.
Yeah. It was for video games. No, it wasn't called Plays. The esports high school leagues and something like that, if they organize that kind of as well. Not obviously not high school leagues, but like a data platform where you can look all up the stats. You can look up, I don't know, you can look up high school stats from all players in basketball, because they have all the information, man, which I think was fucking, once you get that,
ooh-wee. I mean, in general, think for scouting, right? So as a scout right now, you have to go to each high school, etc., watch these games. Now I can just go watch the highlights, or just
you can also think about it, you can create tournaments. Hey, we have the VR camera tournament, and you get sponsors, etc. Yeah. Then you have more branding. Fucking so cool. That's just, I like that. It's also super cool.
Also, Mark, it was called Play Versus.
Play Versus. Yeah.
Play Versus, which really cool. I mean, it's
massive market.
So I think that's really, really cool. It just like gamifies it, makes it really, really interesting. But yeah, I think this soon, in a few years, every university or high school will have it, because it just makes sense. It's not too expensive, especially in the US, where people pay anyways to participate in these leagues, the students. So, and it just makes it nicer, to be honest. Catch you next one. Peace.